Todd, welcome to FrightFest.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
How's it been for you?
It's been a blast. We got here on Friday and we got a chance to see a couple films and meet some of the fans and just check out the whole thing. And it's my first time here, as you know, so
yes,
it's an amazing experience, having a blast.
Tell us about the film. Your background is makeup, isn't it? Makeup artist and stuff.
Yeah, I started as a special effects makeup artist in 1990, and the first big film I worked on was Hook. Worked on Dracula, Mrs. Doubtfire, Benjamin Buttons, a lot of really cool studio films. And then started directing about 7 years ago. Did my first film called Monster Mutt, which was a family film.
Yes.
And then second unit directed a couple other films and produced some other films. And then about a year ago, started coming up with the idea for The Terror of Hallow's Eve.
Yes.
And fleshed that out and then made that one.
And tell us about the genesis of the film that we're going to be watching, or the audience will be watching later on this afternoon.
The film itself is a homage to the 1980s horror films. I'm a huge fan of John Carpenter, Wes Craven, all those great films of the 80s that literally inspired me to do what I do now. And I wanted to make a product that might stand out more, so I decided to write the story based on events that happened to me when I was about 14 years old, when I got bullied and had this whole horrible experience, and figured that if I created something that was truly passionate to me, that hopefully that would translate to the film and be something that people could identify with. On top of it just being a cool horror film, I wanted to give it something a little bit more personable to it.
So the main character, it's Doug, isn't it?
Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Doug is a longtime friend of mine. I first met Doug when I was working on a film called Monkey Bone with Brendan Fraser. We put him in a kind of a Bigfoot Yeti kind of a character. And we became friends ever since. And I recently was working with him. We were doing the makeup effects on Doug for a movie called Ouija, Origins of Evil. And we were in pre-production on The Terror. And I was asking Doug, and I know everyone asks him, you know, would you be in my film?
Sure.
But I told him about it being, you know, based on my true story and all that. And he was like, I'm in. I'm totally in. And we actually shot him as a character called Scarecrow that's in the film. And the trickster character, who's our lead character, was actually a puppet at first. We started with a puppet, but I didn't feel like it was connecting with the Timmy character like I wanted to. So after we completed the entire film, we went back and decided that we were going to bring Doug in and actually put him in makeup and shoot him against green screen.
He's brilliant in it as well.
Shrink him down to 4 feet, CG his eyes bigger, and put him right into the film over the top of the
Which is what I mean, if you're pitching the film to the folks that haven't seen it, because obviously this is going on the FrightFest TV thing, but a lot of people will watch this that won't be there in the screening. So give us a non-spoilery pitch.
So The Terror of Hallow's Eve is, well, I'll say it this way. When I was 14 years old, I was that nerdy kid who made monsters in his garage that all of the neighbors thought was weird and didn't want their kids playing with. And I had a crush on this 18-year-old girl who worked at the local 7-Eleven where I got my Fangoria magazines. I went in and...
It's all in the film, by the way.
All this is all in the film.
All in the film.
First half hour of the film is completely what really happened.
It's a documentary.
Absolutely. So what happened was I ended up talking to her one time, and I got all excited because she actually talked to me for about 20 seconds. As I walked out, her 18-year-old boyfriend came walking in. She made a comment that I was a cute kid.
Oh no.
He came back outside, met his other two 18, 19-year-old friends, and there's little 13, 14-year-old me looking at my comic book, and they beat the crap out of me for no reason. Now, I walked home bleeding all over. My mom was a single mom. She wasn't there. I went in my garage, started sculpting a creature, bleeding all over it. Had a concussion. I was beat up pretty bad. And decided I was going to go back that night and give them a piece of my mind.
Blimey.
I went back that night, and it's all in the story. And then what I did was I took that premise, and I remember sitting in my garage wishing I could turn into a creature and go back and beat the hell out of these guys. So I took that,
you can
and now I have
your revenge
literally on the theater.
Revenge
is on the theater. So, and then I wanted also to make something that was a huge 1980s genre throwback. But also create characters that were kind of new also, but felt familiar. So that was the challenge of the film.